Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us tonight. If you weren't able to join us, we are going to record this call, and it will be posted next week on the NASCO website for everybody to view. I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to the COAC and legislative committees. I believe Brian is going to start us off, so you guys go for it.
All right. Thank you there, Taylor. Appreciate the introduction. I'm Brian Gould. I'm the National County Office Advocacy Committee Chair for NASCO. And just a little bit about myself is that I have been with the Farm Service Agency going on 7.5 years. I've been a CED for 6 of those. I started very briefly as a PT and then completed my COT training, as it used to be called, in a year before becoming the CED in Baltimore County, Maryland, for 2 years. And then I've spent the past 4 years in Caroline County, Maryland, as the CED in that office. I've also been a member of NASCO for all 7 years of my employment. The co-workers in the office that I started in were very passionate about NASCO, and so as I've heard before, they really didn't leave me much choice in joining, but it really has been a great experience, and I'm glad that they were so passionate about it, and that's shared by, I see that shared by membership every day and the people that I communicate with. So moving forward, a little bit about how the COAC is set up. We do have myself as the national chair, and then we have 5 area chairs. We have Katrina Miller in Indiana, Ethan Hickey from Massachusetts, Rayla Brandt from Nebraska, Chris Orso from Georgia, and Janine Wendell from Texas was the Southwest area chair. However, I believe she is retiring as of September, so she will be looking to fill the Southwest area position. But if anyone does have any questions regarding county committee or anything of that nature in the meantime, they can reach out to your area executive, and they should be able to point you in my direction, or you can reach out to me directly. So let's see. Okay, so a little bit about what COAC, what our roles and duties kind of entail. We monitor, each area chair is responsible for a certain area that we kind of monitor on a national level, and field questions for and keep up to date on, including PM notices, AO notices, for personnel management, administrative operations. And then we monitor basically any notice or program amendments that come out regarding county committee powers, duties, elections, all of those areas, just to make sure that, number one, there's no, we're not seeing any degradation of the county committee powers. And then also COAC is focused on advocating, supporting, being aware of changes that might affect county office employees as well. Oftentimes we will work with the legislative committee from time to time as some of those notices and things come out, or there's changes to policy. For example, there was the Equity Commission that has now concluded, but COAC and the legislative committee worked kind of together on that to cooperate. And then another area that's a large part of the COAC is coordinating and communicating, collaborating with NAFEC, the National Association of Farmer Elected Committees. And what NAFEC is a similar association to what NASCO is, except it's comprised of county committee members nationwide. So, a lot of times NASCO and NAFEC do share, our interests will align from either current policy that's being worked on or taking place, or there's also benefits side of it, things like that, where NAFEC also has a presence in legislative operations, and they have a presence on Capitol Hill as well. I'm sure that you'll hear the legislative committee talk about their recent trip, but NAFEC actually, a delegation of their leadership just was in Washington, D.C. on June 3rd and the 4th, where they met with members of. Oh, what's going on? Can you all still hear me? Oh,
Yes, we can.
okay. Sorry,
Your
something was ringing.
slideshow, is it
Something was ringing
still?
through there. Okay. NAFEC was in DC on June the 3rd and the 4th recently, where they met with um, Secretary Brooke Rollins' office, as well as Bill Beam, Steve Peterson, FSA leadership, other members of that group as well. And then they did meet with the staff of some members of the House while they were there for that trip. To express support of FSA, what our mission is, and then to also express support for and try to solidify the administration's support for the county committee system itself as a whole. That's really what their main focus is, keeping that grassroots contact with locally elected committees that separates FSA from every other federal agency. I would also encourage everyone to, if you can, join. You, I think even Joel put it in his most recent letter that one of the things that people on Capitol Hill want to know, and FSA leadership want to know, is what our membership numbers are, and that is the same case for NAFEC. So if you could join their Facebook, give them a follow on Facebook. You have to search National Association of Farmer Elected Committees. That would help support them. And you can also join as an associate member of NAFEC for $1 a month, or a pay period. So that's really kind of the roles that the County Office Advocacy Committee fills. We really try to express as much support as possible for the county committee system. And, as part of that, we do field concerns from county office employees, as well as county committee members, which we try to help resolve if possible. We also make recommendations to the programs committee as well for discussion with FSA leadership. But it's kind of a ebb and flow of items. Sometimes it expands a little bit farther in one direction of the duties than the other. But it's really kind of an all-encompassing committee for COF and the COC both. The last thing that I did want to mention is that just the importance of county committees as a whole. It, like I had previously mentioned, it's separates FSA from every other federal agency, and it's an important aspect of delivering programs to farmers like we do nationwide. So with that, are there any questions out there that I could field before we move on to the legislative side of things? Let's see. All right. Let's see. We will move on. Amanda, I will flip this forward here, and you and Katie can take over.
Amanda, did you want to share your screen so you could control it?
Ooh. Taylor, I can't hear either talking.
Okay, she's having some connection issues. She's gonna try to reconnect real quick.
Okay.
Want me to fill a little gap here?
If you
Sure.
don't mind, Joel.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay. Well, yeah, NAFEC, Brian mentioned NAFEC was out in DC. Well, we were there too. The same time we met with Bill Beam, Steve Peterson, and Kimberly Graham on Tuesday morning. Kayla and I did. And then the rest of the next 2 days, we ran around and visited with legislative people. So there's a legislative bulletin coming out, so I don't want to take anything away from what Amanda and Katie are working on, but we had good meetings. You saw one little tidbit of the meeting today. The 5 bullet points, that was a discussion item, and they were going to check it out, and well, they delivered. So we're no longer required to do the 5 bullet points, which is kind of bittersweet for me because I had my last one all figured out what I was going to say. I was going to say retired, 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 retired. See you on the flip side. Oh, I guess they took that away from me too, but that's fine. So we don't have to do that. We also brought up the other side with the number of employees that are sitting in the buildings. They were going to get some clarification there. Then we talked about reorganization a little bit. There wasn't much to talk about because, as you know, there's an injunction that has paused the reorganization plans. So, you know, they have submitted, or FPAC has submitted a reorganization plan to the secretary. They don't know what the secretary is going to do to it. So, and of course, we talked about the critical staffing offices and what we're going to be doing that. So hopefully, we'll see something coming
I don't
here
know
in the
what's
near
going on.
future.
Wait,
Okay,
Okay,
are you there now?
let me try it.
Okay, we can hear you.
Okay, perfect.
So I'll shut up now.
Sorry, everyone. I had some issues here. Okay.
Anyway, I'll just figure out, finish up the meeting we had with management before you get into legislative. So we, Kayla and I, we met with them for 45 minutes. We met in the FPAC conference room because literally the Army has taken over the South building. They hadn't taken it over yet, but we weren't allowed in the South building. So very limited staff was in the South building, as they were all told to telework from home because the Army is, they have their 250th anniversary coming up. So we had a good meeting with the three of them. And then we went through on the legislative visits, and I'll let Amanda and Katie explain some of that. So with that, I'll just shut up, Amanda. And Kate.
Okay, thank you for filling in that gap for me, Joel. I was having some audio issues. Okay, hopefully everybody can see my slides now.
Yes.
Okay. So, okay, well, I guess I'll start over since nobody could hear me. So my name is Amanda Ahrens, and I am the legislative co-chair with Katie. And I am a CED from Kansas. I have been with the agency for 18 years. I will go into who our area chairs are, as they do help a role in the legislative committee. For the Midwest area, we have Blake Conrad from Missouri. The Northeast area, we have Lori Thuboot from Maine. The Northwest area, we have Ashley Carter from North Dakota. For the Southeast area, we have Lindsay New, and Lindsay is also our PAC coordinator. For the Southwest area, we have Jason Knoll. And I'm going to hand it over to Katie, and she's going to talk a little bit about our NASCO legislative consultant.
All right. So for those of you who haven't met me yet, my name is Katie Friendrup. I'm honored to serve as the NASCO National Legislative Co-Chair. I currently work as a program analyst in a multi-county office. I've been with the agency for 5 years. I'm deeply passionate about legislative advocacy and ensuring the FSA County Office employees not only have a seat at the table, but also have a strong and respected voice in policy conversations. It's a privilege to help carry that voice to Washington on your behalf. Of course, no one does this work alone, and one of the most valuable members of our legislative team is Hunter Moorhead, the legislative consultant. He's been NASCO's longtime legislative consultant. And before I deep dive into some details about our latest trip to Washington, I'd like to take a moment to just give you some information about Hunter. Hunter serves as the National Legislative Consultant and has been an essential part of our advocacy efforts in Washington, D.C. With decades of experience in agriculture policy, Hunter brings unmatched insight and strategic guidance to our work on Capitol Hill. He previously served as a senior staffer on the Senate Agricultural Committee and has worked within USDA, giving him a deep understanding of both legislative processes and agency operations. Through his role with NASCO, Hunter monitors policy developments, advises on legislative priorities, and helps coordinate congressional outreach to ensure the voice of FSA County Office employees are heard. Hunter participates in weekly strategy calls with NASCO leadership, provides regular policy updates, prepares briefing materials for Hill visits, and serves as a critical liaison between NASCO and lawmakers. His expertise and connections make him an invaluable advocate for our members and mission. I want to take a few minutes to share some highlights from NASCO's most recent trip to Washington, D.C. If Amanda wants to hit the next slide, you'll see some photos from our past visit. We had the opportunity to meet with members of Congress, committee staff, and partners in agricultural policy. These visits were not just routine check-ins. They are a critical part of how we make sure your voices, your experiences, and your needs are heard at the highest levels of government. We had a strong team on the ground, which included President Joel Foster, Vice President Kayla Mattson, Legislative Co-Chair Amanda Ahrens, and myself, along with Hunter. Together, we met with lawmakers from both the House and Senate, including key members of the agricultural committees, and we carried a clear message with us. NASCO members are essential to the success of USDA programs, and it's time we are supported like it. During our meetings, we focused on 4 key priorities, the issues that we know are most urgent in our offices and across the country. We stress the critical need to increase staffing levels in FSA County office with permanent staff. Across the country, many offices are stretched thin. With unfilled positions and growing workloads, our ability to deliver programs effectively is at risk. We made it clear that for our programs to succeed, the people who implement them must be supported. We reminded lawmakers that when offices are understaffed, it's not just employees who feel the strain, it's our producers. Delayed in program delivery and lack of one-on-one support are real issues in rural communities. We share how these challenges affect farmers and ranchers in a very direct way. We also focus on the need for robust and consistent funding for FSA operations. Our county offices need adequate appropriations to provide timely service, keep technology up to date, and to maintain the staffing and resources necessary to do the job right. Finally, we urge Congress to pass a comprehensive bipartisan farm bill that supports producers and employees who deliver the programs. A delayed or stripped down bill creates uncertainty for everyone. We pushed for a farm bill that protects the county office system, strengthens FSA roles, and provides long-term stability. But our advocacy doesn't stop with Hill visits. Back home, NASCO continues our legislative work year-round through weekly strategy calls with Hunter. These weekly calls are where we receive up-to-date information on what's happening in Washington, including farm bill developments, budget negotiations, USDA policy shifts, and more. We use this time to track legislative threats and opportunities, shape our message and outreach, strategize for up-and-coming meetings, coordinate follow-up actions and priorities. These regular calls allow us to stay agile, informed, and proactive so that when decisions are being made, NASCO is ready to respond. We also hold national legislative calls with the area chairs. These calls allow us to share updates from the ground, coordinate local engagement efforts, and make sure our message is consistent from coast to coast. Whether it's arranging a district meeting with a congressperson or collaborating with a commodity group, we are working together as a unified voice. Throughout all of this, our goal is simple: to ensure the voice of FSA County office employees is heard, respected, and included in policy decisions. We're not just implementing programs, we're shaping the future of how agriculture is supported in this country. I'm incredibly proud of the work that NASCO and the legislative team does, and I am grateful for the support of all of our members who make this possible, especially those who contribute to the PAC. Your investment allows us to show up, be heard, and drive change. Amanda is going to take over and talk about just how important the PAC is.
Okay, before I get into my PAC speech, I do want to also encourage everyone to encourage, if your coworker is not a member of NASCO, that's kind of our first thing we want to do. And I don't know if anyone was able to join Glenn and Emily's call last night. They did a great job of explaining what the membership group does. But there's a lot of times we go on these Capitol Hill visits, or we visit with our ag and commodity groups. And one of the things they have actually asked is, well, what is your percent of membership? And when we're able to say, you know, we have 72% membership, they actually kind of listed them like, okay, well, this is a legit organization, association. And so I do want to encourage you first and foremost, because a lot of NASCO's funds actually go towards Hunter to be our legislative consultant. So we have constant feet on the ground. And I guess I should make sure, can everyone hear me again?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So that way Hunter can give us updates every Monday, and then we can also do our monthly calls. So please encourage your coworkers, especially new ones, to join. And so I will go ahead and go into PAC a little bit, because PAC is also extremely important. So NASCO's Political Action Committee is an organization that collects funds from members, then directs them towards political campaigns of candidates who support NASCO priorities. The funds are primarily used to support the leadership and members on the Ag Committee and Ag Appropriations Committee in both the House and Senate. The PAC is the most efficient way of ensuring that legislators who support the same views and goals as NASCO are elected and able to remain in office. So why is the PAC so important? The way people do business in DC has changed drastically, and without a PAC, doors cannot be open, and we cannot ensure that our voices are heard. Such as thing as Katie mentioned, proposed changes to our benefits, staffing reductions, and office restructuring, competitions from program delivery from other agencies, as we must show why FSA can be the most efficient agency. If you go to the NASCO website, just go to nasco.org, and on the top banner, there is the committees box here, which you can go to legislative, and then that's where you can find where the PAC information is at. From here, we have a lot of great resources for the states with the legislative teams, and hopefully each state does have a legislative team or in the process of creating one. And so these are good resources. We have different forms. We have our PAC brochure. We have the PAC enrollment form. And the enrollment form will actually allow you to start a new contribution, or if you want to increase your contributions, that same form is used. We also have the PAC online enrollment, which that automatically reaches out to Lindsay New, our PAC coordinator from Kentucky. Then we also have a general PAC PowerPoint that you can kind of learn a little bit more about what the PAC is. So this is kind of a trend graph. Like I said, Lindsay New does an awesome job with our PAC, and she keeps track of by pay period, and this is a trend chart that she created for us. And back in 2021, you can kind of see we had 745 contributors that were making up $3,560 a pay period. And here we are to present day pay period 10 of 2025, and we have 486 contributors at $2,850. So you can see we've kind of dropped a little bit, but we've also had a lot of retirements. We've had a lot of new employees come on the board, and a lot of new employees might not know what NASCO is or what the PAC is. So, like I said, I would encourage you guys to talk to new employees and let them know the importance of NASCO, because I can assure you the work that Hunter's doing on this Hill has pretty well saved our jobs. Like, we've heard a lot of positive comments from the Secretary of Ag and members of Congress saying how important the Farm Service Agency is. And you don't often hear that about the other USD agencies. So that is extremely important. So we do have a goal to try to get our PAC contributions back up. So right now we are about $2,850, and we would like to get up to $3,300 a pay period. And so we are going to, at National Convention, we are going to announce a new contest, and we'll wait and give those details later. But it's kind of an incentive to try to increase that. So like I said, if you guys, even if it's just $1 a pay period, if we can get you started at $1 a pay period, that's better than nothing. But our goal is we have some current incentives on top of what we're going to announce at National Convention. But right now our PAC promotion is, and while we have the screen on, if you even want to use that QR code, it will take you to the donor form, and you can fill that out and make your contributions even now. But right now our incentive is if you contribute $3 a pay period or increase your PAC contribution by $3, we will have the option to do the leather branded coaster or the lapel pin. If you start a new $5 PAC contribution or increase by $5, you will receive a PAC branded water bottle. And I know Joel said that he tested out the water bottle, and it does keep ice cold on the beach at the day of the beach. So they're pretty nice water bottles. Then if you want to do $8 a pay period or increase it by $8, you can receive both items. And then members already contributing in double digits can receive the water bottle for an extra $3 per pay period increase. So as you can see, we don't we're appreciative of the people already contributing, but our contest we're going to announce at National Convention is kind of more of a contest to encourage new membership. And so we're going to save those details to announce at National Convention. But we hope you guys will contribute to the PAC. And like I said, most importantly, become a NASCO member because those funds do go to Hunter to help us complete our mission. And then we will open it up to questions. If anyone has any questions, I know Taylor was kind of monitoring, I think, a chat. But if you have any questions, please let us know. Reach out anytime if you're afraid to ask on the call. And hopefully we can see everybody here in Montana soon.
There is a question in the chat, Amanda. I'm not sure if you or Joel maybe wants to answer this one. It says, has there been any discussion on if the remote employees from other USD agencies are a permanent assignment? I have some desks that I would like to fill with FSA employees that they lost to the DRP.
Is that a cue, Joel?
Yeah, I think that's a cute Joel because I have this is affecting me, but I don't know those for sure answers. So
The quick answer is nobody knows that answer. The return to work initiative, as far as I know, it's permanent. At least for this administration. Where it goes after that, we will see. But that was the push, is the election push, was for people to not return to work, return to the office. So we got people scattered all over the nation. Some are employees of ours, some are not. What I do know is the national office was concerned about having non-FSA and non-USDA people in our workspace. So, but I guess right now the best we can do is cooperate with them, make them a part of our office, make them feel at home, because it's adversely affecting them too. It's a two-way street. So, I mean, there are people that good friends in NASCO who have been working in their homes, who are now working in the state offices or the county offices. And there's people in the national office who do not know where they might end up, because he talks about these hubs that the Capital Region employees, USDA, are going to move out to. So how that affects everybody. So it's affecting every level of FPAC. It's affecting every level of the federal government. So I guess my suggestion is, yeah, let's just make the best of it. If at the end of the day, if they're taking up a desk for an employee that we're going to hire, my guess is I'd like to think our employees have priority over our workspace. But at the same point, we'll just have to see how this all works out, because the executive order says that for every 4 people that left the agency because of DRP or whatever, I don't know if they're including a regular resignation or a regular good old retirement like I'm going to be doing the end of August, a part of that leaving the agency. So, and if that's going to be agency specific or if it's going to be USDA specific on that 1 for every 4. So can we rob from, let's say, the Forest Service? If they're not filling back up to their full capacity they were before, do we get one of their 1 slots? We don't know that. The national office doesn't know it. So the answer is we don't know the answer. The common sense answer is everybody's being affected the same way. The ones that are coming into our space, workspace, they just as soon be remote working at home too. So They are being adversely affected the same way we are. So the best thing we can do is make the best of the situation, and let's just see where it all ends up. This isn't the first time. I was around, and uh, when we did the farmers home and ASCS came together, we all came together in one space, and we figured it out in the end. So I have 100% faith in our service center employees that we will be professional and help figure this all out at the end. That's a complicated answer to a simple question. That's not all that simple when you start diving into the weeds. Anyway, hopefully I answered that correctly, or not. I guess I tried my best. Any other questions?
There is one more question. It's how does NASCO gauge on what to say or quantify the needs of county offices at Capitol Hill? Do you want me to answer that one, Joel?
If you want. I mean, I was going to, but if you want to take a stab at it, go ahead.
We'll take a stab at it. NASCO gauges the needs of like what to say and what we should be bringing to Capitol Hill, with suggestions of like what Hunter is telling us, that are like current concerns that he's hearing about on Capitol Hill, because he's the one that's getting like the real time developments, of what's going on there. We also look to our state associations, our area executives, and our committee chairs, because they're the ones that are in contact with all of our members and all of the county offices, to let us know like what's going on. A good example of kind of one of the priorities that we discussed on Capitol Hill this last go around, with the county office staffing levels, is across the nation, you have some county offices that are limited service hours. They're only open certain days a week because they don't have the staff to fill it. Or there's offices that should have 8 employees and only has 1 employee. And we hear that from the members and from the area execs and the state associations. Those are the people that are telling us what's going on, because like my county office, we have 5 staff. I'm not one of the offices that's affected by the lack of staffing, but there are a lot of offices that are.
That was worded good. Perfect. Yeah, we rely on membership to tell us. Like this last time, things are, things are moving so quick that it's almost literally impossible to have our traditional position papers, because the way things legislatively are moving right now, it changes from day to day. We have our basic position papers that are still effective, but it's more about just filling out what Hunter says and our membership says of what the current needs are. Yeah, so, and we also kind of went on the fly because when we met with management back in December and when we met this time, we do have an open communication with FSA management on what we're going to be discussing on the Hill. Um, but anyway, any other questions?
We do have another question. How do you guys know which congressperson to talk to when you guys do your visits, specifically in the context of educating them with the COAC system?
I can answer that one. We rely on Hunter sets up all the meetings, and he sets up them meetings he tends to try to, the last couple of times, concentrate on our home states. Because right now it is difficult to get into a senator or a representative if they're not talking to somebody from their home state. So that's why you see a lot of the home states, but we did talk to some that were not from our home states that are on the House Ag Committee or House Ag Appropriations, or on the Senate Ag Committee or Senate Appropriations. So we do, we tend to concentrate on the Ag committees and the the representatives from our own state because it's easier to get into them, and they like to see, especially when you had two people from Minnesota and Katie. I'm going to say it right, Angie Craig. Yeah, when we had two people from Minnesota, she was more than willing to step out of the committee room to talk to us. If you listen to Secretary Rollins today, Angie Craig asked her some pretty good questions. So.
Another good
Okay.
example of that is we met with Senator Jerry Moran, who is from Kansas, and he actually put his newsletter out today, and he shows who he met with the last week, and it said NASCO, and then it mentioned Amanda Aarons from Salina. So he does try to tie it back to people from their states, make a bigger impact than if you're not from their state.
And this last time, we did meet with, they're not staffers with any congressional people or, but they are the ones who are the main writers of the Farm Bill on the House side and on the Senate side. So, you know, the main staffers on them committees, mainly the gentleman and the lady that write all that language that we have to try to decipher.
And we do have a legislative bulletin that's going to be going out. It's being passed around to be reviewed before we post it. So we stay tuned. Hopefully maybe tonight or tomorrow we can get that to everybody. That kind of details who we talk to and some of our talking points as well.
All right, there is one more question. Amanda, I'm gonna let you answer this one. Legislative co-chairs, do they read bills, GovExec, Politico, and Reddits all day? Monitoring seems tiring.
Well, obviously during the workday, that would be no, because we have to focus on our job. So legislative, you have to be super careful. Like programs and negotiations, you can go and submit things during work time, but legislative is probably the most careful thing you have to do. So please do not get in trouble using government computers or time to do legislative stuff. But pretty much, yes. But if we're on this tier, we usually are generally interested in that. So on Facebook, I think when Katie joined, I sent her all the different media type pages on Facebook that I follow, and then I did discover there is some Reddit pages. I don't dare post or like, I just read, and a lot of it is boots on the ground. Like you hear information because it impacted them and they posted it. So yes, I would say generally speaking, and then we share those articles amongst each other and we kind of discuss, and then if something sticks out on our Monday call with Hunter, we'll bring it up and he'll say, "Oh, that's not too big of an issue," or "Yeah, we need to probably look into that a little bit more." So
That's it for questions.
Yeah. Well, if you want, Man and Katie, I got a couple questions on, I can explain the difference on reconciliation versus appropriation versus the full farm bill. I will try to keep it simple, but the reconciliation bill is, first it all starts out with a resolution, budget resolution. Then the committees advance out of the, each committee advances into the reconciliation bill. And so the reconciliation bill is mandatory spending. It is, you know, such as debt limit, stuff that's it's not a annual appropriations or discretionary spending. It is mandatory spending. That's why they call it a slim farm bill. So the reconciliation is only requires a simple majority versus the 60% majority in the Senate, and it eliminates the filibuster. That's why they can move stuff through there, but it's really restricted what they can put in there because it's got to be um, mandatory spending. It can't be discretionary. That's why it's called the Slim Farm Bill that's in there. So the Slim Farm Bill, a lot of our programs are basically mandatory spending. It's not discretionary, it's mandatory, according to the Farm Bill. I mean, so the reference price, when it hits a certain point, yeah, we issue payments. So that's why a lot of our program information that we deal with was in the reconciliation bill. Now, the reconciliation bill is also it can be over several years. It basically is directing the president and Congress where the direction are of the budget or of the program. So basically, it is a all-encompass, multi-year mandatory spending bill, and there are certain things that they can and cannot put in there. That's why it's the full comprehensive farm bill can't be in the reconciliation bill. Only parts of it can. That's why only parts of the nutrition can be in there, the SNAP. That's why you don't see the other stuff in there. So at the end of the day, yeah, if the reconciliation passes, a lot of the programs that we have are going to be pushed through, will be extended till 2031. Now, the other side of that is that doesn't mean they're not going to come back with a comprehensive full farm bill. They're going to have a challenge to get the comprehensive farm bill done. That's why we're sitting in the position we are with the 2 years of extensions. So, just to make it clear, that is not an appropriation bill. So right now they were going through the House Ag Appropriations was going to release their annual appropriations and that one gets into our salary expenses, everything like that, where the president's budget, they take a look at that, and then Congress, how the House puts their 2 cents on it, and then it goes to the Senate. Just like any bill, the reconciliation bill went through the House, now it's sitting with the Senate with the goal to be the president by July 4th. The appropriation bill is completely separate from the House reconciliation bill. And a few people are getting it confused, and to tell you the truth, until about 3 weeks ago, I was confused about what the heck a reconciliation bill is. Once you start diving into it, then it sort of comes muddle clear, like muddy water, but it is appropriations is completely separate. The comprehensive farm bill is completely separate. So hopefully I didn't confuse anybody. I probably did. I usually do. I'll shut up now, Amanda and Katie.
Yes, Joel did a great job explaining all of that. So, was there any other questions that you guys have? And we will have a breakout session if you are going to make it to Montana. And then we do have exit reports for convention, and I believe Taylor puts a set of minutes together. So we will have kind of the different things that we've talked about also in that report that you guys can check out after convention.
Joel, there is one final question for you. Joel, before you abandon us in August, could you guys do a For Dummies guide on everything you just said? Reconciliation, bill process, appropriations bill, and farm bill are pretty overwhelming concepts, yet necessary.
So Joel, we do have that in the entrance report that I sent for national convention. What you had responded, I took kind of what you put in there. So hopefully, or if we want to do a separate legislative bulletin for that, we can talk about that.
Yeah, all exit reports with that information will be posted on the NASCO website. typically a couple weeks after convention. So we'll make sure to share when those are posted. So everybody can check out those reports, and we'll make sure that that is included in the legislative report for you guys.
And we can, as the appropriation bills proceed, which by the time we get into the convention time, the House appropriation bill is supposed to be out this week. So we'll have a clearer picture on how this all is, especially if they want to get it to the president, the reconciliation by July 4th. So that's the week before we are at the convention. So yes, absolutely, we will work on something. Actually, I was going to kind of incorporate that into something with my farewell message too. So, but anyway, we can definitely have something on paper just explaining that by convention time. I tried to put it in. Well, yeah, I was dumb about it till 3 weeks ago, so I know. Well, about a month or so ago, so I know it's confusing. I know it's confusing for members. It's confusing for the general public. Heck, the media doesn't get most of it right. So we will try to have reconciliation bill, appropriation, farm bill 101. We'll try to. We'll take some of what Amanda had and what I have, and we will try to put something together. Good idea.
This is Brian again with COAC. If you guys don't mind, I was going to elaborate a little bit more on one of the questions that I had in the chat. I did respond. I did have two questions in the chat that I did respond to. One of them was pertaining to, kind of what are your roles as a state chair? What kind of information should you be seeing? And I just wanted to elaborate a little bit more on that and just give some examples of some information. COAC, sort of a lot of what we deal with, especially with NAFEC and the legislative committee, is policy that policy or concerns that have already been released in a bulletin that just kind of come up the chain that we address with leadership through the programs committee or just amongst NASCO leadership. So a lot of it, the policy that could potentially come out in regard to COC. We see a lot of that, and a lot of it so far. I've been in the role for, August will be a year, and a lot of the policy, including, a lot of the information that stemmed from, that the Equity Commission was looking at, just really never came to fruition. So, as far as a state chair, you may not, unless there was unless NASCO and the Legislative Committee and Hunter decided that, there was something that needed a call to action from the membership. You may not see a lot of information regarding any potential changes to the COC unless it elevated to a certain level of concern. Some of the information that you would see as a state chair, and some of it depends on the time of the year, kind of like with our FSA program. Some of the NAFEC items are sort of cyclical. So you may see their annual scholarship be disseminated down to you in your state role. In the wintertime, you may see information, regarding NAFEC puts together a packet for basically CEDs to give to their county committee members to encourage NAFEC membership, and also explain kind of what COC, some educational materials and things like that. So you may see that come down to the state level for dissemination to your state membership. So it's sort of things like that you would see more often than anything regarding policy, unless it elevated to a certain level. So it's not that your area chair isn't corresponding with you or something like that. It just may be that there isn't that much information, depending on the time of the year or the current political climate that is coming down. So, if you are ever new to a state role, or if you have any questions, you say, "Oh, it's been a while since I've heard anything," I would encourage you to reach out to your area chair to see if there's anything you may have missed lately, or just for a check-in. The area chairs are encouraged to reach out, or you can reach out directly to me to see if there's anything you may have missed as well. So, yeah, so just wanted to elaborate just a little bit more on that and the type of information you may see as a state chair. Um, but yeah, hopefully that helps. I think that's it for me. So.
All right. Thank you guys for all the great questions, and we will get this recording posted on the NASCO website next week following the town hall for benefits, awards, and publicity. Everybody have a good night.